When Steve McQueen offered Bruce Lee a Porsche and a house, Lee's response shocked everyone in Hollywood. But what happened before that offer? The secret training sessions, the mental transformation, the moment McQueen realized he knew nothing about real power. That's the story that will blow your mind. Los Angeles, summer of 1972. Steve McQueen was at the top of Hollywood. The car chase scenes in Bullet had made him a legend. He was preparing for Papillon. New projects came in every week. But that night, sitting alone in his Bel Air mansion, he stared into nothing. Because Steve McQueen had a problem nobody knew about. That problem was fear itself. When the cameras stopped rolling, Steve McQueen was no longer the king of cool. He was just a man filled with insecurity that started when his father abandoned him as a child and never stopped growing. Every night, he took sleeping pills because he was afraid of being alone in the dark. He believed the people around him didn't really love him, that they only stayed because he was famous. But his real fear was something else. He didn't know what would happen in a real fight. In Bullet, he had done the car chase scenes himself, but the fight scenes were completely doubled. Because Steve McQueen had never actually learned how to fight. While everyone on set talked about how brave he was, he secretly felt like a fraud. That's when everything changed. In August 1972, at a Hollywood party he met Bruce Lee. Bruce was known at the time for his role as Kato in The Green Hornet, but he hadn't become a big star yet. Steve watched him from across the room. He studied how Lee moved, how he stood, how he spoke, and he noticed something. Bruce Lee wasn't acting at all. During the party, Steve approached him. "I'm Steve McQueen," he said. Bruce smiled. "I know. Bullet was a great film. Did you really do that car chase yourself?" "Yes," said Steve. "What about you? Those moves in Kato, are they real?" Bruce's eyes lit up. "If you're curious, I can show you." Right there, at that party, Steve McQueen learned the biggest lesson of his life. Bruce Lee showed him a close combat position. In just 3 seconds he disrupted Steve's balance, controlled his arm, and neutralized him. Without causing any pain, without any harm, but so effectively that Steve couldn't breathe. "How did you do that?" Steve asked, his voice a mix of excitement and fear. "This is just the beginning," Bruce said. "Real power isn't in physical strength, it's in the mind. You're a very strong man, Steve, but you haven't discovered your real power yet." That night, when Steve went home, he didn't take a sleeping pill. For the first time in a long time, there was something he was genuinely curious about. What was real power? And why was Bruce Lee so different from him? The next day he called Bruce. "Would you teach me?" Bruce's answer was brief. "If you're ready to learn, I'll teach you." But there was still something he didn't know. The real test for Steve McQueen hadn't even begun yet. The first training session took place in the backyard of Bruce's Bel Air home. Steve had dressed in his most expensive sportswear, as if he was going to a photo shoot. When Bruce saw him, he laughed. "You don't need to impress anyone here, Steve. You just need to learn." The first 30 minutes shattered Steve McQueen's ego. Bruce tried to teach him basic stances, but Steve kept saying faster, harder. Finally Bruce stopped. "Steve, why are you here? To learn how to fight?" "No," Bruce said. "You're here to run from your fear. But fear will keep running from you until it becomes your teacher, not your enemy." These words hit Steve hard. For the first time, someone had seen him so clearly. "Then how do I learn?" Steve asked, this time with genuine humility in his voice. "First you need to let go of the fake Steve. Then we can find the real Steve." The next 3 months were the hardest period of Steve McQueen's life. Bruce wasn't just teaching him fighting techniques, he was teaching him life philosophy. "Be like water," Bruce would say. "Take the shape of the container, but keep your own flow." Steve didn't understand this at first. "What do you mean?" "Hollywood is trying to put you in a mold. cool guy, fearless hero, perfect star. But you're none of those things. You're Steve. And Steve has his own unique power. As the training progressed, Steve's body was changing, but what really changed was his mind. He stopped taking sleeping pills at night, because he was no longer afraid of the dark. Because Bruce had taught him that his biggest fear was himself. But the real surprise came at the end of the 4th month. One evening after training, they were both sitting in Bruce's backyard. Steve noticed the worried expression on Bruce's face. "Is something wrong, Bruce?" Bruce hesitated. "Steve, I want to tell you something, but it's going to sound strange." "Tell me." "I'm afraid of speed." Steve was surprised. "What do you mean?" "I love cars, but I'm afraid of driving fast. When you were doing those chase scenes in Bullet, I was sitting at home watching and it made me nauseous. Because I've never gone that fast before." Steve laughed, but not maliciously. It was an understanding smile. "Bruce, you made me so strong in fighting. Now it's my turn." "What do you mean?" "I'm going to teach you to love speed. Just like you taught me not to be afraid." Bruce hesitated. "Steve, this is different. You learned to fight because it was about the mind. But speed is physical." "No, Bruce," Steve said in the calm tone Bruce had taught him. "Speed is also about the mind. If you can control fear, you can control speed." The following week, Steve took Bruce in his car to the Malibu coast. They would start slow, to keep Bruce's pulse under control. "Breathe, Bruce. Be like water, remember?" Interestingly, teaching Bruce his own philosophy back to him was also relaxing Steve. For the first time, he was in the teacher's role. A month later, Bruce could handle 60 miles per hour. 2 months later, 80. After 3 months, Steve decided to give him the real surprise. "Bruce, I want to take you where Mulholland Drive, at midnight." Bruce's face changed. Mulholland Drive was Los Angeles' most dangerous and famous night racing route. The curves were tight, the roads were dark, and even the most experienced drivers could crash there. "Steve, I'm not ready. 3 months ago, I told you the same thing. I said I wasn't ready for fighting." "What did you tell me?" Bruce remembered. "Fear will keep running from you until it becomes your teacher, not your enemy." Exactly. That night at 11 p.m., Steve and Bruce stood at the beginning of Mulholland Drive. Steve's Porsche 911 was purring in the silence of the night. "Bruce, now I'm going to teach you trust, not just in me, but in yourself." "How?" "You're going to be behind the wheel." Bruce's eyes widened. "Steve, this is crazy." "It's not crazy, Bruce, this is courage. You taught me courage. Now I'm going to teach you courage." Bruce got behind the wheel, with trembling hands. Steve sat beside him. "Remember, Bruce, be like water. Don't try to force control of the road. Listen to what the road is telling you." In the first curve, Bruce was too slow. In the second, he sped up a little more. In the third, something changed. Bruce was no longer fighting with the car. He was dancing with it. "Steve, this is incredible. This is real power, Bruce. It emerges not when you try to control, but when you let yourself flow." 20 minutes later, when they reached the end of the road, Bruce was a completely different person. There was a sparkle in his eyes. For the first time, he had felt the freedom that speed brings. "Steve, thank you." "For what?" "For teaching me to trust. Not just you, but myself." Steve smiled. "Now we're equals, Bruce. You taught me mental strength. I taught you physical courage." The car stopped, and they both got out. The lights of Los Angeles stretched out beneath their feet. "Bruce," Steve said. He pulled out an envelope from his jacket. "Now there's something I really want to give you." When Bruce opened the envelope, he found the keys to the Porsche and the deed to a house in Bel Air. "Steve, this is too much." "No, Bruce, this isn't nearly enough. You taught me to overcome my fears. I taught you to trust. But you taught me the most valuable thing of all." "What was that?" "What real friendship means." Bruce looked at the keys, then at Steve. "But I can't accept these." "Why not?" Because you already gave me the most valuable gift. What was that? Trust. For the first time in my life, I felt that someone completely trusted me. Tonight on Mulholland, you put your life in my hands. That's not something that can be bought with any amount of money. Steve nodded understandingly. Then would you accept this? Let this car be a symbol of our friendship. We'll both use it. You'll continue taking speed lessons. I'll continue taking kung fu lessons. Bruce smiled. That's acceptable. For the next 2 years, Steve and Bruce continued this routine. 3 days a week kung fu at Bruce's house, 2 days a week driving cars on Mulholland. They completed each other. Steve could now really fight. Not just for cameras, but for real life. Bruce had also become captivated by the magic of speed. He even started doing his own stunts. Most importantly, they were completely honest with each other. This was rarely seen in Hollywood. In 1974, Steve gave Bruce his final lesson. Bruce, I have nothing left to teach you. I have nothing left to teach you either, Steve. Then we're equals now. No, Bruce said with a smile. Now we're real friends. This is where the real story ends. Two men's friendship cannot be bought with money. Cannot be bought with a Porsche, with a house. It can only be earned through trust, mutual teaching, helping each other overcome fears. When Steve McQueen offered Bruce Lee a Porsche and a house that night, Lee's response had shocked Hollywood. I can't accept these, because you already gave me the most valuable gift. Trust. Real friendship begins with accepting each other, as you are. It continues by helping each other become the best you can be, and it lasts forever.